Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're taking a look at the elimination battles from Straight Woman Fighter Season 2. I know this is going to be between Ladybounce and Mannequin. I did hear that Wolflow was the crew that ranked 6th, so they were automatically eliminated. Part of me wishes that I could have seen a Mannequin Wolflow mashup. That would have been so cool, but I am excited to take a look at some Ladybounce versus Mannequin battles. It's gonna be great, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's get started. All right, round 5. 아니야. 와, 언니 지금 노래 진짜 접신했다. 왔다. 언니가 뭐라든 상관없었어. 그렇지! Wow, she tries to do the wave with her arms up. That was so nice. 솔직히 하나도 안 떨렸어. 그때 저 자신을 의심하는 것 자체가 엄청 바보 같은 거라고 생각하기 때문에. Yeah, that was one of Biggy's best sets for sure. I love that. I love that. Okay, so starting it from the top, it kind of starts low-key immediately here. Initial thoughts, I freaking loved it from both sides. It was wonderful. Seeing Whaackxxxy here, we did see her earlier in that relay, and having her take this type of approach, love the vibration that she did there. It's different than the other techniques within the genre of this style that we have seen from her, so I love that. Looking here, she kind of grabs, traveling it up, having this repetitive groove of this vibrationary body wave. I love that, and it matches that bass very well because the bass hits and it travels back. So it matches where there's music or sound context to justify that choice of her body, and having her arm go about in a very different polyrhythmic way of, you know, dropping here and going to the side, and then here this screams what we've already seen from Sarah. So it's kind of cool that we're just seeing all of these fingerprints of each crew member on each other's exploration of movement, and I love that. And it's not like they're biting each other, you know, like not plagiarizing or copying. I just think that they're integrating things that make what each member iconic pockets, or how they're choosing to explore their tracks. I think it's cool that it feels very communal in how they're approaching their battles, and I really love this. And it feels like it's not just Whaackxxxy we're watching battle, it's Mannequin is battling. I think it's that, and that's why I love it so much. You know, and I think it's great that she did all of this facing the judges, because they're able to see all of these details here, because if she faced the side, they're only getting a side profile of about half of it. So I think it's very strategic and very well executed, the choices she makes of when she chooses to face Biggy and the other choices whenever she's facing front. Those little things I think matter. That right there, she's very good at polyrhythmic whacks, where she's hitting around the side and then she's choosing to do overheads on a completely different layer of her track. Those are so impressive, and they're so difficult to train because it requires you to die to yourself all the time. So I can really see the grit and the perseverance of her training through these sequences that she's bringing to the table. I think it's just so nice. It's admirable. It really is. And I love how she goes from a full range and drops it and isolates it to now a half range with using her elbow as a fixed point to allow that range to seamlessly convert to half size. Super fun. And now she drops it and then she frames it around, unlocks, she hits, and then she chooses to make it into a shoulder ISO. This is brilliant from her. Then when that piano chord hits, she bleeds and makes that a moment. It's such a nice break from all the nuances. Now this right here, we've seen Sarah do a lot of those taps with her foot, and seeing it here done in a different way. It's not done in a feminine way. It's done in a more neutral posture that helps integrate what we've already seen in the beginning. We see here, and it's just so enjoyable. I love it. You know, how she does those really quick in succession kind of taps, then she bleeds it into a hinge is really nice, and then she goes straight back into her overheads, what she knows how to do best. You know, I love it. But what's really cool though is what I think Whaackxxxy is known for is whenever she does her overheads, a lot of times part of her overhead is going to trigger an effect of her other parts of her body. Sometimes whenever she goes up, her knee inverts in and it creates a different energy in the lower half, and it engages the full body at all times, not just the upper body. And that's what makes her movements so impressive, because they are impressive. She's operating polyrhythmically at least 85% of the time, and that is so difficult to do fluently within the craft of any style you choose to pursue. We're seeing a trained professional battler, which I knew that already. Of course, I've reacted to many things from Mana Queen already at this point, right? And I've already seen Yuji and Whaackxxxy versus the twins at Fusion Concepts. So I've really seen them in different elements already. But just seeing this here is just it's so inspirational to me, just seeing her be able to explore any track in a way that it still looks like her, but we see these other essences of other styles that she's trained in to enhance her whacking. And I absolutely love it. And it makes me very privileged to be able to be trained enough to see these things, you know, and I think that's something to account for as well. Just going in, her build-up's really nice with the piano hitting on the top, her expanding her arms out and over to be able to create that range, and using her slight feet. That's one of my notes, is where we are seeing this kind of really quick bourrée-like footwork. And I personally, for me, I wish that they could have maybe explored a different way to execute that outside of just exploring on the balls of the feet and moving and turning. But that's just a preferential thing. That's not anything that's worth to deduct for. Right there was super fun. She goes up. She goes from big, loud arms to quieter arms with the shampoo thread with her head into a very chill, gimmicky kind of groove that she does with her hips. Super fun. It's just fun. As she goes into the... It just feels like a vibe. It feels like a party. I love it. Right there, she chooses to kind of do a little whip of her leg as she pulls it through, causing her to drop down. And I love the fact she's exploring her range in this way. It's brilliant, guys. And as she chooses to take that moment to thread her body through, the stability here is incredible. And having her wave through, every time she dropped to the floor, we haven't seen anything that was a direct replication of something we've already seen from her, and that is mad impressive on Whaackxxxy's part. She's choosing to do the bourrées again, but her whacking is slightly different. She does choose to keep that wide range, but it is different. It's no longer stationary. She's traveling it all the way across, so it is a different viewpoint because she's facing Ladybounce versus the judges there, and that's another kicker too. It technically looks different because of where she's facing. And I love this, as she pulls it, brings it back up, matches the piano. That right there, notice she didn't drop her hands here and wave. She flipped it up and did a reverse wave. That's way harder to do because you have to completely reverse all of the context of how you train waves. So I love that choice she made. And it ties in a lot of this kind of scarecrow-esque posture or movements that she's already done. Yeah, so she goes here and then she twists it down. Kudos to Whaackxxxy for that. Now Biggy, I really like what Biggy did here. It feels nice. It feels like she's more in her element compared to when I saw her in the relay. I think that could have been because of the song. She may not have known the song and because she wasn't able to hit certain pockets of that music as much, but I really feel like she hit the pocket here very well. She sets it up. How she sets it up, you notice she's having kind of these variations of a Harlem Shake. Not a true, I'm showing you the Harlem Shake, but you can see it as it's just a part of her posture. And I think that's what I really like about this, is a lot of her grooves that she's choosing to explore, they don't look like, here's this move that I'm doing. It's a, this is who I am. This is the vibe that I want you to really appreciate for me. She does like to have her palms facing up. It does provide a different, more chill aesthetic about the groove she chooses to go about with. I love it. Her switching between really staccato rebounds into more of a legato hinge and bleeding through into some snaking. I'm just melting at this set. It's so enjoyable, guys. Woo, dipping down into a really slight baby W, popping it back up. Really enjoyable. Yeah, boom, boom with a double hit. Love it. And then she chose to go up, and then cause the leg to pull back, causing her body to react to it. I love how she reacts to certain key movements and focal points within her set. It's so fun. Downside is, I really wish that she did some of that towards the front. I think that would have read so different because we got to see it from the front. Judges did not, though. That right there was cool, but the judges got to see the pullback. That was really cool. The run through, so nice, so fun. Yeah, now she's still bleeding into the Harlem Shake. Do I think that her groove is prolonged in the Harlem Shake variations? I don't think so, because she is exploring other, other synonyms of the groove. I think that's why it doesn't really bother me as much as when I see other people do it. Also note too, she switched her hands from her palms to more points, and that does change the look of the direction of her arms. She's expanding her arms and her reach. That age right there, boom, boom, that double was so nice, very extroverted. And she chose to, and that's something I really love about this as well, is whenever I see somebody who is exploring movement or who's a freestyler, whenever they hit a really nice moment and then they choose to keep exploring it, but they ride it out in a different way until their body's ready to hit something else. Absolutely love this. This is fabulous. Splitting it around. And you also, she doesn't look tired here, and I think that's great. Like both Whaackxxxy and Biggy brought really great stamina creatively as well as physically, and I think that's what made both of them so enjoyable to watch. I think this was a super close match, personally. I love this. Right there, as she chose to go forward and back and then travel it through using her footwork was super fun. I think she should be very proud of this. It was incredible. I loved it, and I think it was that was just a beautiful exchange between the two, and they're two different styles, mind you that, right? Now, if I were to pick between the two, my vote would have gone to Whaackxxxy, not by a huge margin, but definitely I would have picked her, because when you think about the music choices, how they both chose to hit the different parts of the music, Whaackxxxy really approached it more polyrhythmically. She was taking it was very clear what layers she was trying to hit, which with Biggy, it was a little bit muddled in some aspects, but it really helped with the overall aesthetic of what she was bringing. And I liked that, but when you think about the complexity of the polyrhythms that are very easily digestible, but it's complex, very impressive whenever you see somebody be able to have that type of fluency to explore that in that way. Even if you're not somebody who notices whacking as often as you see other styles, it doesn't negate the fact that you can look at it and say that's impressive, right? And I think she brought so many of those elements. You can tell she was very familiar with how she was choosing a texture, how she calibrated it to the track, then how she transitioned it out to introduce a new texture or groove that really made sense with what she previously did, but they're two completely different pockets of energy. And I think that's very, very commendable, and something that I think the judges also saw. For Biggy, I really love what she brought. I think it was great. It's definitely one of her better sets I've seen from her, not just in the eliminations, but just in general. I think it was very enjoyable and matched the track well. I think having some of her grooves, sometimes when they just isolate into individual movements, she took as a form of cursive throughout her grooving. And I loved that. And I think that that was kind of a low-key risk, and I think it may not have worked in her favor, but if she was against somebody else, I think it would have been very different. But you know, I mean, mad respect to Ladybounce. I do know that Manic Queen did move on to the finals. They are in our finals. So I do know that this was Ladybounce's last round on the show. I am just so proud of how we've seen them just escalate in captivation and in energy and what they've brought to the table. I think the very first time I was like, whoa, from Ladybounce was their crew preview. I loved the visuals that they did, and the editing was incredible, and I loved their vibe. And then I would say actually on the show was their 5v5 that they did. I don't know who it was against. 1mil? I think it was against 1mil. And I love that, had that old school ajushi vibe about it. It was so fun, very gimmicky, and that's when everything worked for them. I love their sets they did with Jam. They really put up quite a fight, and I really think that they took 1 or 2 rounds from Jam during that time. And I know that they had some help with the live audience vote there. That's a completely different topic entirely. But this was such a great overall match, and I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity to be able to observe it and appreciate it for what it is based on my scope. This was awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. I've always enjoyed watching dance, and I've really enjoyed watching Street Woman Fighter Season 2, and these battles are no different. I absolutely love the discussions that come about from watching these, as well as extra context and insight that a lot of you guys provide for me, and it really helps me grow as a dancer and as a human and as somebody who analyzes this stuff. So if you want to see more Street Woman Fighter content, whether it's Season 1, Season 2, or Street Man Fighter, all of that is starting to be released on YouTube, but all of it is there on Patreon for you to view ad-free, whole vibe and a half, and some things that can't make their way to YouTube for copyright reasons are also hanging out over there if you want to go take a look. Thank you guys again for watching. It's always been a pleasure, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.